What is the statement?
So the statement is, I don't have a home.
And have you got your moment to anchor in?
Yeah, as I was kind of saying, it's kind of a semi imagined, but it's pretty close to the reality. Couldn't tell you what day of the week or exactly what time of day or whatever, but I can picture myself in my dorm room. I can see like the way the bunk beds worked, one was like this and one was like this in the corner. My desk was over here. And I can remember at that time I was doing like 5 hours of math homework per every 2 days. And I was doing like, I had like tons of work. I was just working so hard, staying up late. I was tired. And then this almost girlfriend kind of dumped me. And yeah, it's like I remember the images. I'm picturing like I want to go home and I'm like, where is that? Is that where my mom lives in Florida? Or is that where my dad lives in Iowa? Where is and that's where that feeling is. Like I don't have a home.
I don't have a home. Is it true?
Yes.
I don't have a home. Can you absolutely know that it's true? I don't have a home.
Yes.
How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? I don't have a home.
I feel a lot of sadness. And I see images of my childhood home, which we lived in Virginia from when I was very before I can remember until I was like 15. And I see so many images of playing there and being at home there and doing my homework there and going to the pool and, you know, cutting grass, had a grass cutting business for all the neighbors. My grandmother was nearby. Grandparents were nearby before my granddad died. My other grandmother was nearby. I had friends around. And I see those collection of images and the feelings that go with them, this feeling of safety and see my mom around. I can see my dad around. They're both there. I see sitting at dinner. We always had dinner together. I see my two sisters and my mom and dad and all five of us at the table laughing and having good food and see my dad's wood shop. I can see the garden. It's like rich, just so multi-layered. I recently, my sisters found or that house was for sale online, and for the first time since we sold it, which was like 30 years ago, and they hadn't changed almost anything. So we just had all the real estate pictures of the inside of this house, pretty much in the same condition as it was, and I could just go around. I could spend 5 hours looking at each picture if I wanted to, and just tell you every detail of that house. So I have this conglomeration of images, and that include people and the places there, and I call that home. And that has not, we left that in 1985. And we've, and then I see the images. So I've kind of been describing this from here now a little bit, but if I go back to my dorm room, this is only probably 4 years after the divorce, I'm still seeing like, okay, we lived 1 year in one town, then 2 years in another town. Then I moved to college and my mom moved to Florida. So it's like all these images of home up until age 15, and then then moving to another place, my parents breaking up, and then this kind of beginning of what turned out later to be many, 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 many moves. So I feel lost. I feel disoriented. I'm yearning for that place where I see all those images in one place. And I want to go there, like there's a safety. Like I want to go back to the place where everything's familiar and I can count on it, and hear like the wisdom of mom and the wisdom of dad, like they're different wisdoms. And I see like 1,700 miles apart between my mom and my dad in places that neither one of them feels like home. Where dad lives, where mom lives, neither one feels like home. So I'm feel like a
I
lost
don't
child.
have a home. I don't have a home. How do you treat yourself when you're believing this thought?
Like a lost child. Completely powerless, unable to do anything. I just sit there and suffer. I can't even really pick up the phone. Certainly can't ask mom or dad if I can come for a visit, because what's the point? It's not even home anyway. I'm treat myself like I'm a victim. And it just feels like so close to tears. Like the whole heart is just like constricted. Sad, 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 sad.
Would you like to move to question 4 or stay here?
Yeah.
So, just taking yourself back into the dorm room, the long study, the exhaustion, but without the thought, I don't have a home. Who would you be without the thought?
The first thing I notice is that I breathe deeply. And it feels like I'm sitting up more. With the thought, it's more of a slouchy kind of feeling. Without the thought, I'm looking around. I notice my past, but I'm not clinging to it. I'm just thinking, oh, what do I need to take care of myself? And first thought that pops in my head is just call mom and just talk with her for a few minutes. And yeah, everything feels lighter, more doable. Like there's a little imbalance in my life right now, and it's not the end of the world. I start to think of, okay, maybe there's a better way to deal with my studies than spending 5 hours doing assignments. Maybe I can just find a way to compromise. And I'd like to call my dad and ask him, what does he think? I remember him talking about when he was in medical school, how he decided he wasn't going to get straight A's after a while. He's like, that's just going to kill me. So he just backed off and got what he needed to pass. So I might talk to him about that, So like options and energy and ability to reach out to mom and dad individually comes in. And I feel more grounded just being there in my dorm room. Just, yeah, there's kind of a sweet, homey feeling about my little dorm room. And I had a good roommate, so a good friend, and I liked my classes. I liked my college. I liked everything about where I was. Like there's an actual blissful feeling that comes in. Like there's a happiness. I remember how happy I was in those years, actually, except for when I got too burned out. So without the thought, I don't have a home, I'm starting to feel like everything's more pulled in to where I am in this dorm room, in this situation with mom and dad here and there, with memories of childhood. But it's like I'm starting to feel like a grown up. Like, oh wait, I'm not dependent on a home. I'm 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 on an adventure. I'm living in the world. I've moved beyond home. And yeah, it comes with some ups and downs. But I don't feel lost. Yeah, the feeling is much more open. Much more blissful is the word that comes to mind. I'm happy.
Shall we try turning it around?
Yeah,
I don't have a home.
I do have a home. And I think it starts on that feeling level, that blissful kind of feeling is that's home. That's my home. I've had that feeling everywhere I've lived. And here it is. So I have a home. I have a home. It's a feeling. And I have that. It only goes away when I start crying that I don't have a home. When I start focusing on the breakup, when I start focusing on the moves and the distance and all that, then I lose that perspective. But I have the essence of home right here in my heart. And I have literally a home in my dorm room with my things. I get to stay there. I have a key to the place. I have my own desk. I have my own bed. Even had this cool quilted bedspread that someone gave to us in our family and I got. And that's home. I'm really getting it right now. It's like, that's home. Just like the 2 years before that, my last 2 years of high school, we lived in one place and that was my home. And that felt so much like home. And dad wasn't there, but mom was. That was home. So without the thought, I don't have a home. No, sorry, turning it around, I do have a home. Pushing it here, but have I ever lost my home? Not so sure. I just went through some kind of interesting personal relationship stuff, mom and dad decided not to live together. We moved. But have I ever been evicted? No. No. And I see how much mom was supporting me to be in college. How much dad was caring about me. I've never lost that. Never lost that. It's like I had an image of it being a package deal, and once the package is broken, then it's no longer available. But it's not. It's like it can be broken into different sections and still be just as nourishing and just as home-like and and on top of it, like coming into my own, like age 19, I'm starting to stand on my own feet. And that's home. So I have a home. I don't think I ever lost it. This is really sacrilegious for me to even think about. But I don't think I don't think that feeling of home was ever fully taken away from me. It was just changed and changed and changed. And it's continued to change. Wow, when I look at all the places I've lived, all the situations I've been in, there's always been a thread of home running through it all, in spite of my story. So home is where the heart is. I do have a home. Yeah. It feels way more responsible, way less victim-y. And now it's not my mom and dad's fault for anything. They didn't do anything to me at all. They just thought it was better not to live together. And I can understand why. So in a way, it had nothing to do with me. Yeah, that's probably what they would say. I still have my home. I feel like I'm like reclaiming this for the first time in my life. When, like, I always glorify my early days as like, that was when I had a home and everything was great. But it had its challenges too. And now I'm looking at it a little differently. Like, I've always had a home, always, through the divorce, through the different moves, through living alone, through, everywhere I've lived. So now suddenly there's this thread moving through the whole life of home being there. And this divorce couldn't even scratch that, couldn't even touch it. What did it have to do? That's like divorce had nothing to do with me. I really get that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whew.
Yeah.
It's been a day, hasn't it?
It's been a day. Yeah. That's whew, that's right. I'm like, I feel like I just came out of a well like 30 feet down. And yeah.
You might have just healed a couple moms too.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Yeah. No, it feels healing for everyone. It might have, wow. Anyway, I want to even talk about it. It's just on a feeling level. It's so good. Hmm. there's nothing, it's like there's nothing to blame because there's nothing bad happened to me. That's kind of the bottom line. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So what's your pleasure, Wendy? I know you said you wanted to do the work on like do some full judge your neighbor worksheets on
Yeah.
yours. Do you want to just wait and do the work in the forum on that, or do you want
Yeah,
to do anything
I
before?
think I'll do it
Okay.
in a one-on-one where I can take a lot of time.
Perfect.
But I do have a couple things that did come up. Incidentally, I want to say, Barbara, I love watching you do that because you're such a good teacher to me too. And I just want you to know I noticed that as Todd was kind of like coming to the end of it, and then he started wandering, that you just repeated the statement again a couple times and pulled him right back into it. And then I thought that was really
Yeah, it's so
beautiful.
helpful. It's like I don't even know, like when you're really in it, I was just so in it. I didn't know where I was. I think I'm answering the question, but I don't know because I started on those images and they just went everywhere, right?
Exactly.
So Barbara just
Yeah.
brought
Pulled
me
you
back.
right there with the statement. And then asked you, would you like to move to question 4 or stay here? Or stay here, and you were ready to move, but it would have dawned of me to ask or stay here. You're ready to move on, but that that I'm realizing can make a person feel as if, come on, move on, and
No,
giving
it's
the
an
choice.
open-ended question, right? It's
Right.
completely,
Right.
where would you like to go? Keep
Right.
going, stay
You
here.
want to
Yeah.
stay here, either way is fine. The permission to stay here and keep looking was very powerful. So I'm learning so much from you.
Mm. Yeah, it was really, I loved the way you held me, Barbara. It was like you were with me and holding me, making sure I'm actually doing the work, but you were giving me as much space as I needed to go into those deep corners and look. And it didn't I didn't feel the pressure like you needed to be seen or that you needed to be like um
Doing it
feel
right.
good about yourself that you're doing a good job, or have my attention brought to you. Like I felt like I just closed my eyes the whole time, which I don't always do, and I was so with me, and you allowed me to be with me, and that gave me such a great experience that kept me connected with myself through the whole time. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to hear because I had a moment before, like early on, where I thought, oh, I think he's just describing and talking. Maybe I should bring him back, that I didn't act on. And then when I did act, I thought, oh, I'm dragging him out of, he's like deeply in and I'm pushing him. So it's it's just lovely to be able to do this in this group right now. Go, this is what I noticed, and then this is what I noticed, and like
Yeah.
really learn from each other that way. It's so useful.
And when you're facilitating, you don't know. You don't really know. Are they getting out of the work here or are they not? Like, I didn't feel I was really getting out of the work. I felt like I was still holding the thread, but it was maybe loosely. And I'm sure I would have brought myself more closely on my own, but it didn't harm to just test it. Like, oh, where are you? Right? Hey, okay, just checking in, and then the worst case scenario, you bring me out, I can just bring myself right back in. No big deal. So there's nothing, that's why we're always talking about I can't do it wrong. And I've been doing this facilitating for 15 years and I still have to guess, like, I don't know, are they really, are they just going on a tangent that they're going to bring back, or are they really lost? And so I'll let it go for a while. Sometimes I know the client, it's easier to know, but sometimes I just have to say, okay, so, and I'll ask something again, just like you did, and we'll find out, right? No harm done. Yeah. Because bringing someone out would be like bringing them out of the work completely. But if I'm bringing them to another question in the work, then I'm really not necessarily bringing them out.
Yeah.
I mean, the
But
only thing is if they're really getting into answering a particular question and they feel like there's more to answer, then maybe it's like just checking that you're still answering this question, right?
it seemed
And
like
then,
that's what she did, because
yeah,
she just repeated your statement, but she did it smoothly and quietly,
yeah.
kind of in the same tone you were speaking in.
And I think
And
she said, how do you react, right? So that's the broadest question. It's not even one of the sub
right.
questions. It's like the broadest question. It was just like a little reminder to me, because I was in it and I think it was meditative and I think I was going
Mhm.
in the right direction, but just a reminder, what are we doing here? Oh yeah, how do I react? And what's the thought, right? Oh yeah, I don't have a home. And then it just it's like I got a compass reading. Okay, over that way. And off I went.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm.
All right, so divorce is, as you can see, such a cool topic to do the work on, you know? These are juicy. They're just so juicy. And it's really sweet to have you and to do this live and to actually kind of hold the space for each other. And I just want to encourage all of us to follow the breadcrumbs. And if divorce is one of those breadcrumbs, just follow it in and see what you can learn when you do a little bit of inquiry. It'd be beautiful.
I mean,
I feel like I got a home back today. It's not a
that's
small thing for
awesome.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a home that I never lost. I got a whole life back. It's almost like the lights went out at age 16 and I never came back fully. They were on like the dimmer switch. They went down, and like today I just realized they never went down. That was just me putting like sunglasses on or something.
Yes. It left me with a more confidence in my son, and him going through whatever he needs to go through, because of the number of times we've moved as well. And then I can then look from what might be his perspective from my perspective, obviously, and I can see him creating a home for his daughter,
Mm,
and the fact that he and his wife recently divorced. And so it's like, it just doesn't, there's there's no one who's untouched by this subject.
no, no, there isn't.
Yeah.
And yet there's no one that is in a way touched. Like that's what I discovered in my work. Like I was untouched. It had nothing to do with me. It was
Right,
just
right.
two parents deciding not to live with each other. And
Wasn't
what
you,
did that have to do with my home? Like that's just, there's house, but
right?
there's home is something more. And so yeah, I'm really getting that. Like that didn't touch me. That's bizarre. I really believed it
Yeah.
did. I had all the proof.
But I'm not going to call my son and say, "You're not touched."
No, no, no. Let him have his story. Find it out on his own. Love it. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.